Y'all remember when we spoke about The Great Indian Kitchen? A small Malayalam film streaming on a small platform, and then we watched it and we loved it. Okay, here's another one. Today we're talking about Richter Scale 7.6, yet another Malayalam language movie streaming on rootsvideo.com and firstshows.com. In her directorial debut, filmmaker Jeeva KJ tells the story of a father-son duo living in a kacha hut in what seems like an area cut off from cities or even a village. The hut has 3 rooms separated by walls made of dried leaves woven together and a veranda. And in these claustrophobic 4 locations, the entire film pretty much takes place, not revealing until the very last shot where this hut is, what's around it, why it's there, etc. The son, Suku, goes to work each morning with a giant hammer in his hand, looking at their living conditions and his tool. It's clear he works in a quarry of some sort. But when he leaves, he ties his father, Raman Kunju's leg with a chain to his bed, because Raman Kunju suffers from an undisclosed mental disorder, and Suku, not being able to afford his medical fee, sees this as the best solution. He leaves food and medicine by his father's bed each morning and comes back each night with a small meal wrapped in newspaper. But Raman Kunju is smarter and more aware than he appears. He has his own little adventures, some real, some imaginary, unknown to his son while he's alone all day. Not gonna lie, basis the title of the film, I kept expecting a little backstory to show up. Was there an earthquake that displaced Raman Kunju and Suku, killing the rest of their family? A trauma the father couldn't recover from, causing his cognitive damage? As you get more inside this tiny world of 3 rooms and a veranda, you begin to understand the title is less literal and more metaphorical, talking about seismic waves not in tectonic plates but in relationships. The father, as you learn, was a folk dancer, a performer back in his time. When left alone, he breaks out into songs about nature. I do wish the opening credits song was subtitled though. And then he dances, and when he's dancing, many times he's looking straight into the camera कि मानो आप उनकी audience हो और वो आपके लिए perform कर रहा है. He's aware he's being watched. He also pretends to catch fish, he talks to a snake, has conversations with people who aren't really around, waters a small plant. It's essentially him we watch all day long, and perhaps by design, director Jeeva ensures her main character gets unbearable after a point. To drive home the loneliness that lives within him, the absolute solitude that will drive anybody to insanity. He yells, he screams. We don't know if it's his own emotions that he can't process or it's actually anger at being treated like an animal, helplessly chained to a spot. Writers Reji Kumar K, Rajesh Kumar K and director Jeeva empathize with the father but don't quite demonize the son either. A boy born into poverty, oppressed since he begins to understand the world, he already carries within him anger, teetering on the edge of hopelessness, knowing full well he has very few options as an adult. He's saddled with a father who he doesn't particularly like, is resentful towards. His life as he sees it is over before he's even had a fair chance. Too caught up in the everyday work of actually having to break stone, a most mundane, mind-numbing profession, to have any mental capacity to try and make any kind of life plans. And his mental state is reflected in the kitchen of this house, the room where he spends most of his time when he's at home. All the walls are blackened from a perennially burning fire. As if the smoke from the fire wasn't enough, he is also smoking bidis, so he's adding to his own suffocation, perhaps making life just a little bit harder for himself. Small boxes are stacked under a window with some spices at the bottom, yani he still has some means left to him. There's always a pot on the perennial fire, even if it's just cooking rice, probably signifying a simmering will to survive which hasn't yet been extinguished. Richter Scale 7.6 is a little rough around the edges, making me think कि अगर ये इसकी length शायद थोड़ी short होती, it could have been a tighter film. While I did enjoy a one-way dialogue between the father and a snake, with POV shots of the snake looking at the father, signifying the father's empathy, being able to get inside the snake's head as well, many moments left alone with the father, they begin to feel repetitive and they got on my nerves a little bit. Slight lack of finesse aside, Jeeva KJ is clearly a very capable and compassionate filmmaker who I would just love to see more from. Now, from my favorite segment, Relation Mein Recommendation. Enough and more has been said about Anthony Hopkins' Oscar-winning portrayal of the father in The Father by Florian Zeller. Not quite sure if it's available to watch online in India. The theatrical release was pushed indefinitely due to the pandemic. अभी ऐसे हाल ही में. But if you get a chance, देखना. Olivia Colman plays a daughter caught between her father dealing with dementia and her own life, herself old enough to be tired of it all. Just like Richter scale 7.6, the father too empathizes with both the sides, villainizing neither. For now, subscribe कर लीजिए चैनल को, मेरे को अच्छा लगेगा. Please, नहीं तो how motivation will come to keep doing more?